Okay, hey guys, I'm very tired, so I'm going to make this as quick as I can. Book the Push Challenge. I'm moving the date. It's now due this Sunday. Reason being, a lot of people said they needed more time, and also, there's still a lot I haven't seen yet. There's a good 10, 15 videos I've yet to see. Remember, you win Round Robin Challenge 1, or TNA Best of the NWA TNA World Title Matches. Don't make me say it twice. Let's do this Sunday so that way I can have more time. Since now my Sundays are not completely just me watching football like they usually were. I have to do stuff on Sundays, but no one likes to go out on Sundays, and neither do I. So I'll spend a good 2 hours just watching all the vids, and I'll pick the winners. Okay, but I have promised this review for a while, and that is my review of the Bret Hitman Hart book. Okay, so it's no surprise that some people view this book as quite possibly the best autobiography in wrestling history. As you can see, it's pretty torn up. I've been reading the book for a year, for crying out loud, and it is an excellent book. And I wanted to get it a long time ago, up until I read a lot of reviews saying that he's basically being a bitch, complaining about everything. And that's exactly what this book was. Not gonna lie, Bret Hart was a major whiner in this book. He complains about everything. Each third of the book, he finds someone to completely bitch out. The first third was his family. The second third was Vince. Obviously, the final third being Shawn Michaels. He bashes his dad a lot in the beginning for being very hostile, but he respected his dad. He knew his dad had to do what he had to do to run the family. And at the end, he treats his dad like he's a god. First thing I didn't like about the book. I've started to mention this, The Observer. He basically dislikes The Observer, saying you can't just call anything you want about the wrestling business. You just can't, unless you know the people, you just can't do it. And he completely bashes The Observer. And then, like, every 3 pages in the last 200 pages of the book, some ridiculous, around 96, 97, around that period, I'll say, every single fucking page, he quotes Dave Meltzer saying how great of a champion Bret Hart is. Just trying to put himself over, which I thought was completely spiteful and shameful. How you bash a current product, yet you use it to gain your own means. And this is unscripted, folks. I'm going to go out of nowhere and just try to find a Wrestling Observer book. This could take 1 minute long, and it could piss a lot of people off. Well, too bad. Boom! Right there. Oh my god. How Shawn's not that great of a champion. Those that think Shawn is champion is a fallacy for economic business for the WWE. It didn't work. He even used The Observer to bash Shawn, which was also fucking stupid. Which brings us to my next point. Shawn. HBK is completely buried in this book. He completely bashes him, calling him a whiny brat, all this, a little bitch. I will agree that HBK had problems back then. He had a big drug problem, as we know. And, was a bitch backstage, challenging all these guys. But Bret makes the guy look a lot worse than what he actually was. He also bashes Hunter a lot, too. Like, let me see. On the last page. Right there. I don't know if you can see it too well. Shawn Michaels found religion. And now let me read you the whole paragraph. Shawn Michaels found religion and settled down with an ex-Nitro girl. Over time, he seems to have convinced himself that it was me who screwed him over at Survivor Series. To me, Shawn will always be a phony, a liar, and a hairless yellow dog. The difference between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels is I had never have done to him or to any of the boys what he did to me. And then he goes on to say, Hunter had dumped China, became famous as Triple H, married Vince's only daughter Stephanie, and is poised to become the master and ruler of the wrestling world. All this stuff about Shawn. That's why I was really happy when they, whatever really went down with them backstage, on stage, on Raw, whatever. But I really enjoyed it. Whenever there was with Shawn Michaels. He literally, from 1995 on, he completely trashes. It's ridiculous. I've never seen a person who, besides himself, loves to talk about another person so much. It's crazy how much he talks about Shawn. Purely because some people thought Shawn was better than Bret. I will go on here on camera and say I thought Shawn Michaels. I'm not gonna say he was a better entertainer, better performer, more like I'm gonna say I thought Shawn Michaels was a better wrestler than Bret Hart. Maybe not as good as a kind of a technical wrestler, but still, like overall, the full package, I will say I thought Shawn Michaels was a better wrestler than Bret Hart, and I will go on camera and say that no matter what. And I think Bret knew that, and I think that got to Bret, which brings me to my other point. Ric Flair. Bret Hart has the fucking nerve to say Ric Flair's matches, none of them have storytelling or psychology. Okay, obviously, everyone thought and still thinks Ric Flair's the greatest wrestler of all time. So, and he knew this too, this is also the reason why he was mad at Dave, that people kept saying Flair was the best, and Bret always thought in his heart of hearts that Bret was truly the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And he always said, oh yeah, I worked that crazy style with Rick. They always say, like, you know, Rick controls the match. And then he goes on to say very few people respect Rick. And then he says, yeah, then I worked my 20-minute, non-psychology, non-storytelling. Shut up, Bret Hart. Ric Flair has put on some of the best, has had great ring psychology, told some of the best damn stories in the ring. I've never seen a person have, besides Misawa, have so many 5-star matches in 1 year. Ric Flair is the be-all, end-all of professional wrestling. He is better than you, and I will go on here and I will say Ric Flair was a better wrestler than you. Deal with it. Completely torching Ric Flair, and then he just like completely winds up pointing the spot. He bashes Shawn because even though he stole the spot, he says he stole the spot from Sabu in ECW when he did that table spot at Survivor Series 1995, which was the first ever table spot in the WWE. Shawn does it 6 months later at Good Friends, Better Enemies against Diesel. Shawn does a table spot, and Bret goes, "Oh, how original, Bret! It's a fucking table spot. Do you seriously think they would have never ever used that again in the WWE?" And you even said it yourself, you did not invent it. Same with the ladder match. He bashes Shawn, and Shawn took credit for my idea, because for those who don't know, he and Shawn had a ladder match a while ago, but it wasn't nowhere near. He's like, Shawn took credit for my idea of when he had a ladder match with Razor. I completely stole from you. What a dog. Bret. Not only did Shawn have a million times better of a ladder match, he innovated the ladder match. He did stuff in the ladder match that no one thought we would ever see before. Definitely not that what happened in your match. And he, like you said, like many people said, you didn't even invent the ladder match. The ladder match was in the freaking 70s, from what I remember. Actually, wait. He might have had that with Bulldog. I've never seen that match before, but I want to. Not Bulldog, Dynamite Kid. But anyway, still, it's a ladder match. Do you think they're not going to use it again? And Shawn Michaels' ladder match was so different from any ladder match you ever put on in your career. So, again, deal with it. Stop being a bitch. And also then at the end, he bashes the Attitude Era, saying, oh my God, what has wrestling has become? I will say this again on camera. The wrestling business was going down a rut. Truth has always said that in 96 and 97, the WWF was worse then than what it was in 2007, 2008. I don't know if he still believes it about 2009 or 2010. But, like, you know, they just weren't connecting with the fans. The Attitude Era was needed. People that, you're like, oh yeah, look what the wrestling business did to society. The wrestling business does not do that to society. The wrestling business does not get massively accepted and getting millions of fans across the country to that product. All that just because Vince said, oh, you know what, we're going in this new direction. Because it was innovated. The business needed it. The business was in a dead period, a very low period. Well, I want to say business. I want to say WWE was in a very low period, even though some would say both. And they needed this big revolutionizing change. The business were changing. The fans from the 80s were getting older and wanted something edgier. It had to happen, in my opinion. And when it ended perfectly. You're saying, like, oh, the wrestling business is just trash now. The Attitude Era got them more ratings ever than you ever got in your career. So, suck on that. And how does it feel that you were champion during the low points in WWE's history? Not necessarily that the years wrestling-wise were bad, but ratings-wise and money-wise, they were pretty bad. Okay, so just, again, deal with it. Except 94, which I will give to you. 95, 96, 97, 90, 92, I won't say. 93, even though you had that few Jerry Lawler, that was pretty good. So really, Bret goes on and on in this book and says pointless, droning shit. And I know this is a rant, and I don't have much time left because of it, but this book is also amazing. This book is also absolutely phenomenal. great wrestling. Bret has one of the best minds in the business I've ever seen in my life. He remembers everything in his entire career. It's a must-own. I will tell you to go out, even though I spent this entire video bitching about it, go out and pick up this book. This is an amazing book. Those were my problems with Bret Hart as a man. But clearly, he's probably changed. He's probably learned to let go. And some of the stuff he says about the screw job is true, and most of the time, Shawn is in the wrong. Although I do agree with Nightmare Baller 1 and Sabatini Forever. Everyone was really to blame for the screw job. I don't care what people say. Everyone, including this man, had something wrong to do with the screw job. But it's an amazing must-get book. The book was supposed to be 1,000 pages, but he had to cut half of it. And I would have loved to have read 500 more pages. Even if half of it would have been more whining bullshit, I would have loved to have read 500 more pages. He has a great mind for the wrestling business. And I suggest everyone in the world picks up Hitman, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling. I've been wanting to do this review for a year now. I'm Big Red 310, and I'm out. Book to push! This Sunday!